let's dive into this adventure. We're talking budget travel this time, and it looks like you've got some pretty cool ideas already brewing.
You bet. You know what's really cool about budget travel, though? It's not about, sacrificing the whole experience.
Right, it's more about being savvy, right?
Exactly. It's about finding those hidden gems, using those little pro tips that can make your money go way further.
Love it. Okay, you mentioned Vietnam,
Yeah.
and I gotta say, that mix of bustling city and beautiful nature always gets me.
Oh, yeah. Vietnam is unbelievable value, especially for food, man. You can eat like a king for a few bucks.
No kidding.
Seriously, imagine you're in Hanoi, those crazy streets,
Yeah.
and you grab a huge bowl of pho, cheaper than your coffee at home.
Okay, that's a deal I can get behind. But Vietnam's also got that incredible scenery, like Ha Long Bay, right?
Oh, it's like something out of a movie, those limestone cliffs rising up. And getting around is easy and cheap. Overnight buses, you sleep while you travel, saves on a hotel night.
Smart. Any companies you recommend for those buses?
Fuda Bus Lines is solid. The Sin Tourist, too. They cover a lot of the popular spots.
Awesome. Now, you also had Thailand on your list. Beaches, markets, that whole vibe.
Thailand is just bursting with stuff to do. Chiang Mai's got those ancient temples, then you hit the night markets in Bangkok.
I've heard about those markets, but something got to try food-wise.
Oh, man, tough choice. In Chiang Mai, get khao soi, this coconut curry noodle soup. Blow your mind. But
Yeah.
you can't miss pad thai anywhere in Thailand. It's like their national dish.
Sounds amazing. All right, switching gears a bit, you were curious about Nicaragua, right? And I hear it's kind of a hidden gem these days.
Nicaragua is the secret's starting to get out, but it's still super affordable. You want volcanoes, beaches, it's got it all.
A friend stayed at an eco lodge there in the rainforest, said it was surprisingly cheap.
See? That's what's cool. You get these unique places to stay without the crazy prices. And if you're feeling adventurous, volcano boarding down Cerro Negro, man.
Okay, that's going on the list. From volcanoes to something a bit saltier. We've got to talk about those Bolivian salt flats. Salar de Uyuni. The pictures are wild.
Pictures don't do it justice. It's like
Yeah.
this endless white expanse, the sky reflecting. It's surreal.
And it's not outrageously priced to get there.
Nah, you can do multi-day tours, covers transport, food, lodging, the works. Super efficient for your budget.
All right, got to look into that. Now, Europe. You had Albania down, which isn't your typical tourist spot.
Albania is a find, I'm telling you. The Albanian Riviera. Picture those Greek islands, but way cheaper.
I'll admit, Albania is new to me. What are the highlights?
Samil, the beaches are incredible. Turquoise water, you can see the Greek islands from there. And Tirana, the capital, it's got this cool, lively vibe.
Cool, cool. Efficient transport, too.
Their bus system is cheap and easy to use, gets you all over the place.
Perfect. And Portugal. That was another one on your list.
Yeah.
Classic Europe without the huge price tag, right?
Portugal is amazing. Lisbon, Porto, those cities have this history, architecture, and the food and wine.
Lisbon's tiles, I've seen photos, they're stunning. And the food scene is supposed to be top-notch.
Oh, it is. Fresh seafood, like grilled sardines, hearty stews. And you gotta try a pastel de nata. Those custard tarts are legendary.
I'm taking notes. Now, on to a region rich in history, Middle East, Africa. You've always wanted to see the pyramids, right?
Who hasn't? And Egypt is surprisingly doable on a budget. Standing beneath those pyramids, cruising down the Nile, seeing ancient temples.
But that must cost a fortune. No.
Nah, there are tons of affordable ways to do it. Here's a tip. Hit the pyramids early morning, beat the crowds, and sometimes the entrance fees are lower then.
Pro tip, I like it.
Yeah.
You were also interested in Morocco, right? Those souks, the Atlas Mountains.
Morocco just hits you with all these sights, sounds, smells. It's like stepping into another world.
I've always loved the idea of staying in one of those ryads, the traditional houses.
Oh, the riots are amazing. Courtyards, fountains, intricate tile work. It's an experience you won't forget. And remember, haggling in the souks is part of the game.
Don't be shy, huh? All right, last start for this part of our trip, Oceania, Fiji. Those islands always seem so luxurious.
Fiji can be pricey if you go the resort route, but it doesn't have to be. It's all about picking the right islands.
Right, so how do you do Fiji on a budget then?
The smaller islands are your friends. Same beauty, way less cost. Yasawa Islands, for example, pristine beaches, unreal snorkeling, and you can stay in cool little guest houses or beachfront burgers.
Sounds perfect. And speaking of amazing underwater stuff, you mentioned Indonesia, which is like the spot for diving.
Indonesia's got it all underwater. And everyone goes to Bali, but it's not the only option. Java, Lombok, the Gili Islands.
Gili Islands, I've heard that name. What are they like?
3 little islands off Lombok, pure paradise.
Yeah.
Beaches, crystal clear water, and a really chill vibe. Way more affordable than Bali.
Love it. So local transport? Ferries, I'm guessing?
Ferries are key, and renting a motorbike is a fun way to explore at your own pace.
Awesome. It's amazing how much variety there is out there, even when you're traveling on a budget.
That's the beauty of it. You can have these incredible experiences without emptying your bank account. It's all about being smart, doing your research, and having an open mind.
Absolutely. Well, we've only scratched the surface, folks. We've got a lot more ground to cover in part 2 of our budget travel bonanza, so make sure to stick around for more incredible destinations and those all-important insider tips. Back for more budget-friendly adventures. I'm already picturing myself on those Albanian beaches haggling in Morocco.
Right. But we've got so many more places to explore. Let's jump back to Asia for a sec. We talked Vietnam, Thailand, but Malaysia is often overlooked.
Oh yeah, Malaysia. I have heard their food scene is off the charts.
It's incredible and so cheap. It's like a fusion of all these cultures, so the flavors are insane. You got to try nasi lemak. It's like their national dish.
Yeah.
And street food is the way to go. Super affordable.
Nasi lemak. Got it. What else makes Malaysia special?
Well, you've got Kuala Lumpur, the big city, totally modern.
Okay.
But then you've got Langkawi, these islands with beaches that'll blow your mind.
Langkawi. Is that near Phuket in Thailand?
Yeah, it's part of that same island chain, but much less crowded and much more relaxed, and way cheaper than places like Phuket or Bali.
Okay, Langkawi is going on the list. Now, you're a big hiker, so I got to ask about Nepal. Himalayas, trekking, that whole experience.
Nepal is like a spiritual journey, honestly. And for trekking, it's so much more affordable than, say, the Alps or something. Imagine yourself in the Annapurna region, those massive peaks, rhododendron forests.
It sounds breathtaking, but as a newbie hiker, it's kind of intimidating. Any advice?
Start small. Poon Hill Trek is popular, amazing views without being too hardcore, and a good guide is worth their weight in gold. They keep you safe, teach you about the area.
I like that it's not just about the physical challenges, it's about the whole cultural thing, too. And Nepal's got all those temples and monasteries, right?
Tons of them. And a lot offer accommodation for travelers, so you can really immerse yourself. Kopan Monastery near Kathmandu is a great one if you're into Tibetan Buddhism.
Wow, I'd love to experience that. All right, back to Europe for a bit. We did Albania, Portugal. What about Eastern Europe? Any hidden gems there?
Eastern Europe is having a moment. It's way more affordable than the West, but with tons of history and beauty. And it's becoming a hot spot for digital nomads.
Interesting. Any countries you'd recommend?
Romania is amazing. It's got everything like medieval castles, charming little towns, big cities, and incredible nature. You can explore Sighisoara, where Vlad the Impaler was born.
Dracula. Okay, I'm intrigued. Where's a good place to start in Romania?
Bucharest, the capital, is a good base. It's this mix of old and new, grand buildings, cool art scene. Then you've got Transylvania with Bran Castle and all that.
Transylvania. Got to see that. And you mentioned digital nomads, so these countries are good for working remotely.
Oh, yeah. Bulgaria, Romania, they've got fast internet, low cost of living, and a growing community of remote workers. Sofia in Bulgaria, Cluj-Napoca in Romania, they're becoming hubs for that.
That's so cool. Work and travel all at once. All right, switching gears again, we can't forget about Africa. Wildlife experiences, safaris.
Everyone thinks Africa's got to be expensive, but it's not always true, especially if you're willing to go off the beaten path a little.
I've always dreamed of a safari, but thought it was out of my price range. How do you do it on a budget?
Timing is key. Shoulder seasons or low season mean fewer crowds and lower prices. And camping safaris are way cheaper than lodges. You still get that amazing wildlife experience.
Camping safari, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
Any specific spots you'd recommend?
South Africa's Kruger National Park is classic and surprisingly affordable. You can rent a car and self-drive, stay at campsites or guest houses along the way.
Drive safari, that's amazing. What else is there to do in South Africa budget-wise?
South Africa is incredibly diverse, from Cape Town's cityscapes to the garden routes, coastal roads. You can hike in the Drakensberg Mountains. The scenery is incredible.
I've always wanted to see Cape Town. It seems like such a vibrant city.
It is. And you can do it on a budget. Hike Table Mountain, explore the colorful Bo-Cap area, enjoy the food scene. Just avoid December to February, that's peak season, prices skyrocket.
Good tip. What about the food? Any must-try dishes in South Africa?
Oh man, so many. Bunny chow, this curry-filled bread, bobodi, a mincemeat dish, and braai, their version of barbrick. And in Cape Town, try Cape Malay cuisine. It's like a fusion of South African and Southeast Asian flavors.
Okay, I'm getting hungry again. Last one for this part, and it's a big one. Australia. possible on a budget.
Australia can be pricey, but with some clever planning, it's doable. You just got to be a bit more resourceful.
I'd love to see the Great Barrier Reef, but I'm guessing those boat trips are expensive.
The leave-board cruises are pricey, yeah. But you can do day trips, snorkeling, or diving. Way more affordable. Base yourself in Cairns or Airlie Beach and do day trips. Much easier on the wallet.
That's good to know. What about those iconic Aussie animals, kangaroos, koalas?
Yeah.
Any cheap ways to see them?
You'll see kangaroos all over, even in some parks around cities. Koalas are trickier. You might have to go to places like Kangaroo Island or Magnetic Island, but it's worth it.
So it's possible to see them without spending a ton. What about other activities in Australia, budget-friendly stuff?
Road trips. Rent a camper van, explore the coast or the outback. You can camp in national parks, cook your own food. It's freedom and super affordable.
Australian outback road trip? I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there are tons of ways to experience Australia without going broke.
Totally. Buddy travel is all about being flexible, finding creative solutions, and being open to trying new things. You'll have experiences you won't find on those fancy tours.
Truth. I'm feeling super inspired. There are just so many possibilities out there.
That's the spirit. We've still got one more part to this budget travel adventure, so stick with us. We've got more destinations and tips to share.
We're back for the final leg of our budget travel marathon. You know, we've covered a lot of ground, but we haven't even touched on North America.
It's funny, people don't always think budget when they think North America, but there are so many amazing, affordable options.
Yeah, I guess I think of like Yellowstone, Yosemite,
Yeah,
those big national parks, but they get crowded, right?
they can, especially in peak season. But here's the thing. Go during shoulder season, like spring or fall. Still beautiful, fewer crowds, lower prices.
Smart. And instead of staying in the parks, maybe look at towns nearby.
Exactly. Often way cheaper for lodging. And hey, you mentioned road trips. Route 66, that's a classic.
All right, that's still a thing. Can you still do that whole Route 66 experience?
Absolutely. It's like stepping back in time, driving classic cars, staying in those vintage motels, eating at those old school diners, and you can totally do it on a budget.
I'm picturing those diners, the red booths, the chrome. Are there any specific ones you recommend along the way?
Oh man, so many. Blue Swallow Motel in New Mexico, super cool vibe. Cozy Dog Drive. In Illinois, they claim to have invented the corn dog. And the Baghdad Cafe in California, it was in a movie.
Gotta check those out. But North America is more than just parks and Route 66, right?
Oh yeah, tons more. The American Southwest, for example. Desert landscapes, Native American culture, all these quirky little towns.
I have a friend who did a Southwest road trip. She was raving about it.
It's a special place. Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, Antelope Canyon. And it's really affordable to travel through. Lots of camping, budget motels, and good local food.
Sounds amazing. Now, what about Canada? Beautiful scenery, but is it budget friendly?
Canada can be pricey, especially the big cities.
Huh.
But if you focus on the outdoors, that's where the savings are. Hiking, camping in the national parks, kayaking, all pretty affordable.
I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. Is Canada good for that?
One of the best places in the world. Head up north, Yukon, Northwest Territories. Winter months are prime time for the Northern Lights.
Wow. Definitely adding that to the bucket list.
Ah.
All right, one last destination I wanted to touch on. Greece. Those islands, the history. But it seems expensive, no?
The islands can be pricey, yeah. But mainland Greece is a different story. Peloponnese region, for example. Ancient ruins, cute towns, beaches, amazing food, and much cheaper.
Interesting. So where would you go in the Peloponnese?
Olympia, where the Olympics started. Mycenae, those ancient ruins are incredible. And Kalamata, beautiful beaches, famous for their olives. And the food is to die for, all super affordable.
Greek food, gotta love it. Those salads, the fresh seafood.
Oh yeah, and so cheap if you eat at the local places. Moussaka, souvlaki, tzatziki. Now, you can't go wrong.
I can practically taste it. So even Greece is doable on a budget if you know where to look.
That's the whole point of this deep dive, right? It's about showing that you don't need to be rich to travel. It's about research, creativity, and a little bit of adventure.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've covered 6 continents, tons of destinations, and I think we've proven that there's an affordable adventure out there for everyone.
Exactly. The world is waiting, and you don't need a fat wallet to explore it. So which of these places is calling your name? What tips are you going to use to plan your trip?
That's the question, folks. From the bustling markets of Southeast Asia to the ancient wonders of Greece, from the wilds of Africa to the peaks of the Himalayas, the possibilities are endless. Happy travels, everyone.